All right, everybody, we are here with Wendy Sorum and Emily Rashid, and they are two of the most fabulous ladies that I know. And the reason that I asked them to hop on this call and record this is because they did a class on Monday night, and I think that Em and Wendy are really good at putting together a class and inviting people and then making sure that people feel like very cared for. And when somebody has an oil, they support them very well. So they did a class, and I'm going to let them tell you about it. I'm just going to ask a couple questions, but I just want you to hear about how they did it because I think you would be inspired by it. So whose idea was it to do this class?
We both kind of worked together on that one.
And what did you call it?
I have my oils now wet.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about like, what are the kinds of things that you talked about and like, what was your vision for what the class would be?
Well, I think that's the easy part because we just got to look at the list of what's in the family physician kit and the home essential kit, which are basically the same oils and then a difference of a diffuser and some beadlets. And we just went through and talked about every single one of the oils in detail and explained most of the common uses and how they can use them in everyday life and stories from our lives. And then a few little extra things like a few cooking ideas, diffuser blends, and roller balls.
Did you have people bring anything? Like, did they bring their whole like box that came with them, or did you provide everything, or how did you do that?
Well, most of the people brought their own oils.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted them to bring their own so that they could experience with their own oils. But then we actually had a few people who hadn't bought any kit yet, and so we shared our oils with them.
Mm-hmm. It was super fun, the format, because Wendy is a rock star and had all this stuff laid out of what she wanted to say more in depth than you would get in a one-on-one class. But then there were people had freedom to say like, oh, I just use like a woman there said she used her lemon to mop her floors. And she's like, was that a good use? Like, yes. Mm-hmm. So being able to hear how other people use their oils, it worked really well.
Mm-hmm. And we had a couple ladies there who had gotten their oils over a year ago and still had them in boxes and stuff. And so they hadn't used them at all because they hadn't learned anything beyond the Oils 101 class. And so they had no idea.
That's what I just feel like that happens more than we realize. And so I think it's a really good reminder to continue to reach out. Tell us, I'm like curious, you don't have to like give them away or anything, but tell us me more about like the diffuser recipes or whatever, how you did that, because I think how you did that was really interesting. Like you only used oils that they would have had. Like you didn't, everything you talked about was something that they already had, which I think was really important. So you had diffuser recipes. Then what else?
Yeah, there were 4 diffuser recipes that could be just from the oils that they had. I think there were 5 or 6 roller blends that they could make and 3 cooking options.
Okay. Awesome. And I know that we were just talking about this earlier, but so a little shout out to Laura Whipperman, who is an amazing, talented, and very tech savvy woman, was at your class on Monday night. And so she put together, she calls them graphic organizers. So basically something to take notes on. And so do you want us to like, tell us a little bit about, because you had people take notes while they were there, right? That was part of what you wanted them to do.
Yeah, I think that was our thinking behind it was I could have probably made all of that up, but I really didn't have time before the meeting. And so it was more so thinking, well, if they really want to know how to use them to the best of their abilities, then they'll have to take some part in taking notes. And everybody did. There wasn't anybody not writing crazy fast.
I think, we all know that it's really good to have to put pen to paper and to write it out that way and take notes. So basically, I think that what I'm going to do with the graphic organizer that Laura sent, I'm going to put it in the files section of Northwoods Essentials Executive so people can access it. But basically, it's just like a little bit more organized so you can take notes on the different sections. So it's brilliant. We love Laura. And like, you felt like the response was good. Like, do you feel like people really felt like they learned? Like, what was the feedback?
I felt like it was really positive. Like people, we had most of the people there already had oils, but like Wendy mentioned, a couple people didn't, and we're thinking like, hey, maybe I would like to get oils, but I wouldn't really know how to use them. So it still ended up being like a pretty great universal class that people in all different levels could still come to and hear more about. And then people brought other oils they had, like, oh, I don't know how to use this. I got like Douglas fir. What do I do with this? And so it like opened it up to be able to talk a little bit more about the other oils, and everyone spoke really positively about it, I thought. So.
I think what's really interesting to me is that it's basically an essential oils 101 class that you gave. But it's just like when you're in that first class and it's like so much information, and no matter how simple you make it, it's a lot of information. So like a second touch point for them to be able to like really digest and experiencing that. So it's kind of like jokes on them because we really just taught them the same class twice with the new handout. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I think that's really great. Again, I really appreciate the way you guys do it and the way that you care for people and the way that you offer ongoing education that way. And I feel like that's a tool that people will be really blessed to know about how you did that. So thank you for sharing and being willing to do this, because we just think you're like celebrities.
Right. Thanks, Amy.
Yeah. You can come back. Thanks, ladies.